Guys, it's 11:01 p.m. that I'm recording this, so excuse that I'm going to be talking quite quietly. I really don't want to get told off. You missed out on one hair dyeing video because I wasn't really feeling it. Low-key, I was on FaceTime dyeing my hair, and also I bleached my hair in my room, but then dyeing it was completely done in the bathroom in the shower, and I'm really not going to record that. My hair's still wet, but maybe it's gonna dry while I'm talking. Anyway, dream talk, sort of. When I was really young, my dream was to be a content creator, a YouTuber. So I made those videos on YouTube when I was like 4, and they're not public, they're unlisted, but maybe one day I'll translate them all into English and show you. And I've played them on stream and somehow translated them somewhat. I'm really bad at translating though. So when I was like 4, 5, 6-ish, I used to make YouTube videos, talk proper. Then when I would say I was like 9 or something, I went back to YouTube, but instead of doing little vlogs that I was doing when I was younger, I would stream Movie Star Planet. Then I think about the same time I made another channel where I would make Littlest Pet Shop videos and Lego Friends videos with my friends. And then eventually I got like completely talked out of it, being like, you're not gonna make it, that's not a real job. So I got talked out of it completely. And then in 2021, I went back to making content, this time on Twitch. But you have to keep in mind that I only started it because I was a fan of the Dream SMP, and my first language isn't English, my first language is Polish, and I only properly learned English through the Dream SMP, which I discovered in 2021, early 2021, and in late 2021 I started streaming, so my English was horrendous, and whenever I go back to those clips, they're horrendous because I don't have any VODs saved from that time. I only have some clips and I sometimes play them, and gosh, my English was horrid. And I think I didn't properly speak English till like mid 2023. So up until then, whenever I would stream, I had to make up for the fact that I cannot speak proper English by making really cringe jokes, and I hate every single thing I made back in then. I don't want to watch that, I don't want to remember that it happened. But in June 2023, I met this guy on Omegle who added me to a Discord server, and then I started talking to some people there in English. Eventually we fell out though, and I stopped talking in English up until 2024 when I started streaming again. Early 2024 I started streaming daily. That's a really important part because I used to stream like once a month. If I streamed twice a month, that would be a miracle. So I started streaming daily in 2024, January. I think January 13th I started streaming daily. And I streamed daily for well over a year actually. And that's only when I started getting better at English. I would say approximately like March or April it got proper good. And now we're there. I can actually speak it, and I'm recording videos, and I no longer stream anymore, but that's another part. So that dream little Nico had at like 5 years old of being a YouTuber is somehow coming true. I got back into content creation for no reason whatsoever, truly, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy that I can sit here and record those fuck-ass videos that someone's gonna watch. It like makes me really happy at heart. So that's one dream that somewhat came true. I don't think I ever wanted to make content as a job, unless when I was like 4, because then that's what I thought all the people made it for. Even though it was fun to sit here and record it all, back then I thought that people only make content as a job, make money off of it and live off of it. But back when I was like 9 and made those videos of Lego Friends or something, or streamed Movie Star Planet, then I no longer thought of it as a job. I thought of it as like a hobby, as a thing that I want to do. And back when I got into it on Twitch, I also didn't think of it as a job. I thought of it as that's a fun thing to do, sit here and talk to people. And whilst I did make some money off of it on Twitch, quite a lot of money, it all went somewhere, I don't know where, but I've lost all of it. I did make some money off of Twitch, but even though I made money off of it, I still didn't see it as a thing that I'm doing it for. I still just went live because there were people to talk to, and I liked sitting there and having people watch me talk about nonsense. And now that I'm doing YouTube, I'm also not making it because I want the money. I'm not making money off of YouTube, better yet. To make money on Twitch, you need to hit affiliate, and it's easier to hit affiliate on Twitch than it is to hit the requirements to make money on YouTube. To make money on YouTube, you need 500 subscribers, which I have hit after like a month of making YouTube, which I'm really happy about. That's like really good, and I'm really glad for everyone who's subscribed. My top 500 subscribers, my first 500 subscribers, love you to death. Mwah. But you also need 3,000 hours watch time, and I think I'm on like around 2,000, so we're 2/3 of the way there. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm not making content because I want the money. If I only made content because I wanted the money, I'd stay on Twitch even though nobody watched me anymore. I still made some money off of it. So if I wanted to do that completely and purely because I wanted the money, then I would stay on Twitch. I would never turn to YouTube. Whilst I think it's really cool that you can do this and make money off of it, I'm not doing it purely because of it. There is so many people on YouTube YouTube that you can just tell they're making it purely because they want the money. And that's not a bad thing, you know, that is a cool way to make money. That's an easy sort of way to make money. I would say that making content is probably one of the easiest way you can make money, but there are parts that are hard about it. I do not want to make it seem like I'm saying content creation is such a hard job, we should give content creators more money than doctors. That's not what I'm trying to say. Being a doctor is really fucking hard. The point that I'm trying to get across is that making content is also hard. It's not like a very easy job, and I don't think anyone can do it. Whilst I don't find myself entertaining particularly, I think that the fact that I wanted to make content when I was 4 and we're over 10 years ahead of that, and I still want to make content and I still do, I think that speaks for the fact that I really want to do it, and eventually I will be able to. What's really hard about the content creation part is that there will always be people that will hate you. You're always going to get hate comments. There's always going to be someone that's going to say something about you that you don't like. And whilst I think on YouTube I've gotten one comment like that was genuine, because I often see people like getting mad at my friends for commenting on my videos, rude things, but those are my friends, I don't mind. But like a genuine hate comment, I think I've gotten one on my YouTube, because I'm not a big content creator. I don't get a lot of comments, period. Obviously a bigger content creator, let's say Tommy fucking in it, half of Tommy in its comments are going to be like lovely, they're going to be nice, they're going to be kind, but the other half are going to be horrendous, and if you read them directed to you, you would probably be very fucking upset. And like thinking about it, like, yeah, you're going into content creation, everyone's gonna hate on you, you should know that, so it shouldn't bother you. Like, I'm going into that thinking I'm gonna get hated on and it shouldn't bother me, but if I get them a lot, that it will bother me, and I'm aware that it will. I got one, so that's not getting into my head. But if whenever I posted a video, I got 30 comments talking shit about something about me, it would probably eventually get to my head. That's why every other YouTuber you know has said something about going to a therapist, because those things can get to your head. And I think that the constant hate that people get is the hardest part about content creation, because truly all that it is, except for getting those hate comments, is that you sit in front of camera, you talk to it, and then you post it on YouTube, and that doesn't seem too hard because it's genuinely not. The only hard part about it is that you're getting hated on. I would also say that the hard part about it is keeping your viewers entertained by making entertaining videos. I'm not particularly good at video ideas. I have approximately 3, and none of them I can make come true, because all of those consider having friends to do something with. And I do have friends, I talk to my friends on a daily basis, but the problem is those videos would require us to meet in real life, and half of them are in a different continent, or at least in a different country. Something that I've noticed about my Twitch streaming is that back when I started, I would either sit in silence or have to make up conversations myself. But back when you're starting, you've barely said anything to anyone, you have a lot of topics to cover. Once I blew up somewhat, once I had those like peak of 25 viewers average, I had actual people to talk to. People in chat would give me conversation topics that I could answer questions, talk to them, and once those viewers started declining, I needed to go on call with my friends because I no longer had anything to say. Everything that I could have said by myself, I've already covered because people asked me about it or I said it myself, and eventually I just needed to entertain people by talking to my friends. And unless you have actual people to give you ideas on what to talk about, ideas for videos in this case, or ideas on what to talk about while you're live, you really need either to be really creative with what you're doing or to have friends. And whilst I'm live, I can be live on VC with my friends, making a video where I really don't want to make videos of us playing games, because I, in particular, do not find gaming videos interesting, which is quite ironic saying I learned English from the Dream SMP watching people play Minecraft all day. I really do not like gaming content, especially Minecraft. So I really don't want to make it, because even though I don't think my talking is particularly, I'm overusing the word particularly, I don't find myself entertaining. And I think that because I'm just talking to you, I don't find this entertaining at all. But I like watching videos where people talk, and I think it's more of like a hate towards myself in like a normal way. Don't get me wrong, you can watch someone do something and think that's super cool, but once you do it, you're gonna think that you're not doing it the right way. And I think it's the same way about making videos. I can watch someone talk for hours and it'll be okay, I'll be entertained by it, but I do not find myself entertaining because I always think I could do better. But what I do know is that I do not find gaming videos interesting at all, so I will not make them. And while having friends in other countries, it's really impossible to make other videos with them. Fear not, I'm going to see my best friend later on this year, and I'll definitely record a video with her. So eventually we'll get to the point where I can record with my friends. I really want to move out when I'm 18. Most of my friends are somewhere in the UK, either in Scotland, England, whatever, but they're mostly in the UK. So as long as I move there, it wouldn't be a problem to go cross city to meet up with a friend. It's more of a problem to cross countries to meet with them, especially when I'm not 18 and I can't go myself. But once I do turn 18, I really want to move somewhere in the UK, so I actually have access to my friends in a way, so I can go see them. And if I still make YouTube videos by then, I will record videos with them, because that will genuinely be much more interesting than sitting here and talking to you on my bed at 11 p.m. I don't know how I'm gonna move out. I do not have money. I'm also really bad at saving, but I will try my hardest to have some amount of money by the time I turn 18 so that I can move out as soon as possible and see all my friends. I will see most of them later on this year when I go to Scotland, but I just really want to move out to actually be able to see them more often than once a year, which it definitely will not be once a year anyway. Who has the money to go to another country every year? I would say a lot of people do, because you see a lot of people going there, but I am not a part of those people. I'm not poor, but I'm also not particularly rich. I'm middle class, and I really do not have the money to go and see my friends in another country every single year. Which still, how many videos can you record within the 3 days you'll spend there in a year? 1 or 2, maybe? I think what will make the dream of moving to the UK easier for me is the fact that I really do not want to move to a city. I've spent all my life living in Warsaw, which is the capital of Poland if you're not aware, and it's so fucking overwhelming to be here. I love going outside, even by myself, even just staying on my phone all the time when I walk about. It's so overwhelming to be outside in Warsaw, because in 30 seconds of walking out of my house in Warsaw, I will see more people than I would see in a month in a smaller town. So my dream is definitely not to move to London, which will make it easier, definitely, because that means there will be less money spent. Houses in London are so expensive, and I really do not want to move to London or any other big city. I would not mind living in like a little village, as long as I'm close-ish to a town. I don't really go outside anyway. I spend most of my days in bed or playing Roblox, which I'd assume would change once I'm 18 and have to get a job and everything. But speaking about now, I genuinely would not mind living on the outskirts of a town where there's genuinely no one there. I would much rather prefer living somewhere where there's no one there than in Warsaw. And that's genuinely much cheaper than moving into a big city, which makes my dream somewhat more achievable. I don't mind where I move into. As long as I'm somewhere in the UK, I'll be happy, because that's gonna make my dream of meeting my friends more often much more achievable. Whilst, okay, if I moved into Brighton, which is at the very south of England, and I wanted to see my friends from Scotland every other week, I probably could not afford it because the train tickets would be too much. But seeing my friend once a month would be genuinely fine with me. And I know it sounds kind of stupid saying I want to move into the UK because my friends are there. I don't really care that it sounds stupid. I'm aware that it does. But if I know one person in the entirety of Poland, and I know approximately 20 within 20 minutes from London. I might have over-exaggerated that number, but it's okay. I think you get the point that I'm trying to get across. Another dream that I've had for like years now is that I really want to make music. Whilst the last video I put out was practically just and only me playing guitar, I'm not good at it. I've only started playing back in like December, which was 7 months ago, and I can do like 2 strumming patterns. I'm not particularly good at guitar, and what's even worse at that is that while I'm not good at an instrument, I'm also horrible at fucking singing. And I really wanted to make music, and I still really do. At some point I gave up on the guitar for like 2 weeks or so, and I changed onto BandLab or some other platform like that, and I tried to make beats, but that didn't go that well either. I do not think I'm musically talented enough to make music, unless I had a ghostwriter and someone else to make all the like background music for me. Background music, I mean like guitar, piano, whatever, or the beat if I wanted to become a rapper. You get what I mean. And if I had vocal lessons like 3 times a day, maybe eventually within like 10 years I would be able to achieve that dream and put out 1 song. But just by myself, I don't think I'll ever be able to. I've tried many times to record a cover of a song, to write my own songs, and I have written my own songs. I have so many lyrics written down in my notes app, and we're getting back to the point where if I see someone do it, it's okay, but when I do it, I think I could do so much better and I find it cringe. Because the lyrics that I've written, if I imagine them someone else singing it, I would listen to that song. I would love that song. But the problem is I try and read the lyrics, maybe even get some chords on the guitar to make the song come true. And then I get to the point where it sounds so cringe that if any of my family or friends would ever hear it, I would genuinely cry and never leave my room ever again. So we're back to the point where it's more of a self-judgment rather than the fact that I'm actually bad at it. Because I do not think I'm that bad of a lyric writer, I just find my own lyrics really cringe to listen to back. But I had that same exact fear when I was starting YouTube. Because sat on Twitch, I'm sat with my friends, they physically cannot really judge me if they're the ones coming up with the topics to talk about. But I really feared that when I make YouTube, my friends will just laugh at what I'm posting. And they don't. They've never done that. Unless it was like a mutual conversation conversation where we both laughed at it, like a shared joke in a way. It's just some fear of mine that I cannot get over, fear of judgment, which is somewhat like hard to believe based off the way I look, based off the fact that whenever I leave my house I get barked at. But I also think it goes down to the fact that I never really had friends. I went to kindergarten for 3 years, and during all those 3 years I had one friend that in the last year told me she never really liked me either, but she just didn't have any other friends. Then back at school, my only friends went back from like 2 to 3 people all over 8 years, and they weren't really my friends either. It was more of a, oh, my friend isn't at school, so I'll talk to Nico instead. And then also I remember very clearly in 3rd or 4th grade, one person told me that he'll be my friend as long as I bring him food. So for like 3 months straight, every single day I would buy him snacks so that he would be my friend. I only properly made friends back in 2024, so it was just a really like new thing to me. It sounds really depressing to say that I don't have friends, but I genuinely do, just not a lot. I would say that I'm really extroverted because I love talking to people. I will not shut the fuck up. I'm not an introvert. I do not like spending time alone. I need to constantly talk to people. Even if I'm not on call, I will watch something and screenshot something every 30 seconds to send it to someone and tell them about it. So I would say I'm an extrovert, but I'm just like really socially awkward, and I seem to never be able to find a mutual topic that we can both find interesting with someone. And I wouldn't say my interests are particularly weird. I think that there isn't many things that I don't like, so it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, there are things that I like a lot, and there are things that I don't like as much, but I pretty much like every possible thing there is, just like I like every single music genre. There are particular songs in a certain genre that I will not like, but as a whole I like every single thing. There are artists I don't like, but it's because I've got personal beef with them. But just because I've got a personal beef with an artist, that doesn't mean they don't have a song I don't like. You know, I've got personal beef with Taylor Swift, but who wouldn't fuck with Shake It Off Our Party? Everyone would. I'm not a particularly big fan of Youngblood, but my daddy put a gun to my head and said if you kiss a boy I'm gonna shoot you dead. I like pretty much everything, which makes it really weird that I never really had friends because of my interests. And whilst I wouldn't say I was particularly disliked, I would say that I was more of a person that you'd rather not talk to. Because I wouldn't say there was anyone in my class that particularly hated me, but there were just people that would never talk to me, and if they did, that would be a miracle. And because at school I barely had any friends, when anyone from my class would be talking about someone from the same year but just a different class, I would have no fucking idea who they're on about, because I didn't know anyone. There was about 1,000 people at my school, 20 in my class, and I knew the 20 from my class, maybe 25 at a stretch. And whilst I didn't know people in my school, I still somehow always managed to get myself in trouble because I talked in class. Because I'm an extrovert, I never shut the fuck up. I'm just like really socially awkward and socially anxious when talking to people, especially people that I don't know. It's so hard for me to make friends because I don't really know how to behave around those people. It's so awkward for me to come up to someone and say, "Hi, my name is Nico, how are you?" Because I've never really done that. I'm not even entirely sure how I made those friends that I'm friends with right now. I lied, I do know that. I used to stream on Twitch, like I said, and I was sat on VC on stream, and some people joined it, including Alice and Brie. Eventually I ended stream and stayed on VC, and we just kept talking, and that's how I got to know them. But the thing is, there wasn't any, "Hey, how are you? Okay, so let's get to know each other," because I find that so awkward to do. But I also cannot say that people don't want to be my friends. I think I have approximately 80 DMs on TikTok of people asking me to be their friend. But what I really don't like about that is that they want to be my friend because I seem appealing to them. They don't want to be my friend because I seem cool. The only thing I do on TikTok is lip sync. I cannot seem cool because of a song I lip synced to. And I don't mind making friends on TikTok. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I would definitely befriend someone who, if I commented on my private TikTok on a random video saying something, they would reply to that comment and we would bond over something. I wouldn't mind that. They always say, "You seem so cool. Do you want to be my friend?" How can I seem cool? You've never spoken to me. You've never heard me speak. All you've seen is me lip sync to a Lil Peep song on TikTok. And I physically cannot seem cool based off of that. I can only seem pretty to you, and that's why you want to be my friend. And I really don't like that. That's why I never respond to those DMs. If someone texts me asking me about something, sure, I'll reply, but if you ask me to be your friend, I will leave you on red. You physically cannot find someone cool because of a way they lip sync. Imagine it in that way. You see an edit of a series on TikTok and you think those characters look cool, so you go and watch that series, but it turns out to be the most boring thing ever. You didn't know how the series was, you just thought that the characters looked pretty or the edit looked sick, but you've never watched the series before, and then you go and turn it on and it's boring because you didn't know what it was. It just seemed cool. That's why one of my favorite platforms that there is Space Hey. There is no pictures of me there. I don't have any of my socials pinned there either. I just am myself, and sometimes people add me and we bond over some random thing that I put in my about me. And I don't mind making friends that way. But if you message me saying, hey, can we be friends because I seem pretty, that's just horrendous, and I'm not gonna reply to that. And I don't have anything against people who do reply to that. You do you. I'm just saying that I don't, because you know there's surely a chance that you're gonna text someone back that texted you that and you're actually gonna become friends because they're cool and you're cool. I just would rather not do that. I also just like don't engage in any social things. I have my little friend group consisting of like 5 people and I only talk to them, so I kind of need to blame myself for not making friends, but at the moment I don't mind not having a lot of them. Also, my mom watches those videos, so let me say one thing. When I was younger, let's say I was like 6 or something, I don't know, I really wanted a dog and I asked my mom for a dog, but she didn't agree. So eventually, because she didn't agree for a dog and we didn't have a dog, I went to my grandma's and she had little kittens there, and I found one so fucking adorable. So I asked her if we can keep the cat, and she agreed for the cat because I've already asked for a dog and she didn't want to have a dog. And whilst I love my cat, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love her with my whole heart, I only got her because I couldn't have a dog. If we got that dog, we'd never get the cat. I had some pets before there and after that, but at some point I also got mice. And I only got those mice because I wanted to have a rat and my mom didn't let me have a rat. I had mice before that as well, and then I had the mice because I couldn't have a rat. And now I'm back to asking my mom for a dog, and I've been asking her for like years and years to have a snake. She really does not want me having a snake because she's scared of them, and snakes are so fucking cool. So after like a couple of days of asking her for a dog, I said, if I can't have a dog, can I at least have a snake? Because you know, I thought that it would be more of a, no, I'm scared of snakes, you're not getting a snake. If you want a snake rather than a dog, I'd rather have you have a dog, so let's get a dog. But it didn't go the way I planned, and she said, okay, let's get a snake then. We don't have that snake, don't worry. Because whilst I think snakes are super fucking cool, I need to stop resorting to the second best option. Because almost every single pet I've ever had, I had because I couldn't get the one I wanted. I really, really want to have a dog. So we're not getting that snake, but I really, really want to have a dog. And you know what? Like a week ago or something, my mom calls me out of my room and said, Nico, we've got you something that you've wanted for so long. She has me take out my hands like that and close my eyes. You know what she gave me? Don't get me started. A little figurine of a dog. Wow. To make her feel bad, but also to be honest, I would say that I went back to my room and I cried. I really, really, really want to have a dog. And it would be resorting to the first ever option that I wanted. Okay, well, before that dog, I did have like a hamster or something. Like before I wanted that dog. Even though I love my cat, I only got her because I couldn't have a dog. Though I feel like I don't seem like a dog person. Because dog people that you see, they are very extroverted and definitely not socially awkward. Because every other time I see someone with a dog, there is someone random coming up to them and hey, can I pet your dog? Like, I would panic if someone came up to me and said something to me. So I feel like I seem like a cat person because I genuinely do not leave my bed most of the days. But if I truly always wanted a dog, I really cannot be a cat person. I love my cat and I love her to death and everything. But just let me have that dog, woman. It's been years. It's been years, let me have a dog. So that's another dream that I really want to fulfill. That's kind of the topic of the video now. I started it off saying, dream talk. We covered my content creation dream, we covered my dream of moving to the UK, and we covered my dream of making music. And now also the dream of wanting to have a dog. Eventually I'll get that dog, I swear I'll get that dog. You know what's the worst thing I heard? Well, asking for that dog. Yeah, you want that dog to record a couple videos for YouTube and then you'll get bored of it. I wanted that dog for years. I wanted that dog when I didn't make YouTube. And now I make YouTube and I still want that dog. It doesn't change the fact that I want the dog for the dog, not to record videos with the dog. I really want a dog and I'm heartbroken right now. Well, I think we've covered all the most important things. Because surely there are like less important dreams that I have. Like, I don't know, get Robux. Well, I'll see you all next week. Bye bye!